you have come through so many lifetimes to reach where you are, uh, with being the messenger of the East, free from the snares of the matrix of creation. So, is there any chance for some of us to make it in one lifetime? To be certain that this is the last incarnation on earth? Because when we look at the challenges one faces when pitted against your endeavors and realizations, one is led to think that the assurance of getting out of creation in this lifetime is over-exaggerated, and that maybe makes one very comfortable. So what do you say about this?
That has always been the idea, hasn't it, Charles? And we use that too. But how I see it personally is that what is an incarnation? Do we have a guess at how long that is? 60, 80, 100 years, whatever. Try this. Try not to see any of that anymore. Just be now. Learn to recognize the isness. Forget all that. Forget lifetimes and incarnation. And forget going here or there, or forgetting, or going back to sleep, or whatever. Just forget all that. Focus on the is. Learn to recognize that. And once you do, heck, you've popped the bubble, you see? You've gone through the fog. There's no such thing anymore. See? Because again, all this has been decided. This was set up a particular way. You know, it's so funny that if there were a beginning, which there isn't a beginning to anything. Let's just say there is to creation. And let's just say it was set up a particular way. But it would be like the earth, okay? It would be like the earth, and everything working on the earth with the environment, okay? So little by little, the little souls came in and decided their places in their little bodies to start their, education here, etc. So as things procured, just in a way, it got a little further along, but in a way, the beginning of the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey, where you see all the monkeys jumping around, and then all of a sudden, there's the monolith, and they're jumping around this, wondering what the heck this is. Of course, they're probably not even wondering that, because they don't even know how to wonder what is this, okay, because of how they are. And so they're just jumping around and looking at this thing. So little by little, through experience, which just, passes, it just passes, continually passes. This is the passing dream. At some point, somebody or individuals get together and start, they start making their calendars, because they have the experience of what's going on. They start making these things up. They start to see beyond this life, and that there are more lifetimes to come. So they start making eventually the wheel of the 84 and the different yugas and whatever, because you see, it all was created out of something. And now what we're experiencing now is just the rehashing the old stuff that's been around for eons. That, it's just like we went through 2012. A lot of people thought, 2012 because it's the end of the Mayan calendar. Okay, you got a bunch of guys got together and carved some stuff in rocks, carved this big stone calendar, and because people interpret it a particular way, and especially the world controllers, they use it as a threat, as to keep the fear going. It's like, oh, gee, it's going to be the end of the world. See, all these ideas in creation, and it isn't. Even when creation's completely black, if it gets to that point, it still exists. It will just, who will decide to go in there and start over again, or what has to be done, whatever, who knows? Doesn't matter. So, again, it's we're just rehashing these old ideas, Charles, is what we are. And so now you have a new day, and you have the possibility of even a better and newer awareness all the time, to provide according to what has already been experienced here. You see? That's the fun part. I like the challenge. Myself, as long as I'm here, it gets me up in the morning. You see? So, because it's harder to get up every day. So again, it's a choice. Or you go along with what is created. You totally go along with what is created. And see, again, it's your decision every moment to just go along with the same routines you've always done. Yeah. So this is where I've made my life what it is, a particular. I took the risk. Fortunately, others showed up, so we support each other here. And this is how it is. It's a struggle because I'm being blocked from, and in many areas, you talk about psychic attacks and invasion of space. Hey, I'm presenting something wonderful to the world that makes sense with the whole of life, not here. Okay, so much so here. Okay. And at the same time, I'm being attacked and held back from what I would like to do. But there are some interesting things occurring, and we'll see. We'll see how it all ends up. You know, Joni many times would walk past me and make fun of me, and say, well, you know, I got the membership, Duane, you got nothing. Well, I would tell her, let's see how it ends up. Yeah, because things do pass. So the boys stay focused. I'm very focused. And so we'll see what happens here, Charles. Was there more to that question?
Yeah. Yeah, it is said that when two or more people come together, there's bound to be some form of politics, because man is a political animal. So can we say the wonderful worldwide educators has some politics too?
Well, we got a little bit of everything, including nano dust that we're breathing, right? Yeah, we got a little bit of everything. And that's all okay, because that's with the 5 bodies. You know, it's just like your car sitting out there. It's getting older. It's getting dirty. The sun is, oxidizing the paint, etc. The gas in the tank is turning to sludge. You know, things are happening. This is how creation is. And so it's not so much about what is taking place with the creation and the cause and effect here, but it's with the awareness of the individual and how they deal with it and apply and the choices that they make. That makes sense. This is what most of the public does not see. And so they go off of ideas that are cliches that sound good, thinking that, oh, this is spiritual or this is religious, or if I'm a good person, I do this. Well, again, those are choices, aren't they? They're all choices. We have to deal with it here. But there is something else. And for it to become a reality, you know, each person is going to see it for themselves. It is not that we're going to just demonstrate it to the world like building a building and then, oh, everybody sees it. No, because what we're actually doing is more so seen on the real side. And so, again, just being realistic with the world, just like what we're talking about here with the Africans and what they're doing. I would not tell anyone or say you're to do this or you're to do that. I make suggestions and say, well, you know, this is where we're going over here. Do you want to go or not or whatever? That's the idea. I'm just looking at that this world is tough enough. And yes, we have ideas that we want to push out there, but see past the idea too, also. And so I looked at what I'm presenting here. You know, when I wrote the books, and especially with about Ursula, the mermaid, you know, these were my great adventures. And to me, it was just like I portray, you know, amazing romantic adventures, and that's really what they were to me. And so, and I titled the books many, many different ways. That was one. Reference I was using out there. And I saw past it. I saw, well, gee, once people start reading this, what are they going to think? And gee, you know, once people start reading book 2, that I had a girlfriend at the same time that I was married that whole time. But Rebazar said all this stuff up, so I'll just blame him. You know, it's fine. He don't care. So, because the end result here is the experience and awareness. It's not about the 10 Commandments or whatever. Paul talked about that too, moral codes and whatever. It's not about moral codes. What are the birds and the bees doing every day, etc.? Do they need a moral code? It's not about any of these things. And today we have gay rights and all these things and people doing funny things and the drama queens and the people want to dress up as queens and whatever. Hey, it's fine. These are choices that people make. It's all fine. People should be allowed what they want to do without bothering others. So let them go do it in some other room. That's fine. So, yeah, our experience is very interesting here, but, you know, it really is, and most people don't recognize their real awareness. You know, they refer to consciousness, and they don't see that that's created, but it's about their real awareness. So, you know, what we're presenting here and doing is exceptional, but you have to see it, don't you, Charles?
Okay, one has to perceive it, recognize it, before there can be any assurance. Okay, Duane, there are those who advocate for peace and unity on earth and go to all lengths to make the world a better place. The solution in the popular view is that if we could just be united in word and action, this world would be a better place, could be a better place. What do you think, as the foremost proponent of this new presentation, what do you think about this idea of unity and peace?
Just depends upon who's saying it. And yes, there are people that are sincere, but when the governments of the world do their speeches, I see it as a marketing ploy. You know, it just depends upon the intent of the individual. And again, people are going with sound good words, thinking that these words will become reality. Well, they can, but it's got to be demonstrated. But when the president's up there talking about all this stuff, and it sounds really good and giving medals to people, and especially themselves, and at the same time, there are planes bombing women and children in other countries. Okay, see, they're demonstrating what they're doing. You know, it's a diversion. So, you know, you have a lot of sound good ideas on the earth, but realistically, yeah, just like the birds, I'm sure that they would like to drink clean water, the birds and the animals and that, and whatever, breathe fresh air, what have you. And the systems that have been created here, including the municipal water district and whatever, telling people that, oh, the water is pristine like spring water. Is it? So again, what is the reality of what is going on? So is peace and love and all these things? Yes, you can decide that, but is it a reality because each person is making their choice? And the controllers of the world, excuse me, they like people to follow these ideas because then they're more controllable. These ideas, for the most part today, you know, it's done individually. If you love your children, you love your children. That's an individual affair. That's your private business. That's your life. That's your choice. But overall, when you market these ideas to the masses and try to get them to see this and agree, and everybody burns candles, that's a marketing control device. You see? And we can all just sit around and being happy and love each other. Okay, fine. But what does that have to do with your real awareness and waking up? And freeing yourself from reincarnation. Is there any reference there? Well, it's a choice. This is what we do. We're showing people how to free themselves through their real awareness and not just looking for the good times. You know, try to keep the good times going. You know? And so that's a choice too. And at the same time, you know, just doing what you can. Things are fine, but not getting hyped and looking forward to the next celebration. To where you're just chasing these ideas, but a true reality more so. But again, You really have to recognize and see that. So, yeah, I see the peace love idea in the world, and it's been portrayed for so long. And Gandhi and Mother Teresa and many others, have displayed these ideas. If it's Mark Twain or whatever, and they're cute ideas. And people, they're cliches to most ideas, but the reality of this place, like Paul said, love does not beget love here. When somebody truly loves something, you can love everybody. That's fine. Good luck. That's a toughie. That takes a lot of energy. But don't expect them to love you. But for the most part, especially the world controllers, they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to take advantage of that and misuse it. And you're going to learn something there, or you're not, or you're going to just stick to it. But love is not the idea. Paul said it. He said, peace is not truth. And that's true. It's just the idea of what it is, and everybody's got their idea of peace. The United States military, their idea is to force their will upon others to keep the peace, and if they got to keep the peace, they're going to blow you up to keep the peace. You think that's their idea of peace. So everybody's got their idea of it, don't they? Yeah, this is the world. This is the real world, and it continues on as each person continues to agree to it. There's one thing being in the world and dealing with it, but to consciously and unconsciously agree to it, thinking that, oh, gee, if we get the Democrats in there, into the White House, things will be good. Well, have fun with that one. All these ideas upon ideas. So the peace love idea, it's cute. That's why I really don't talk about it too much, because, yeah, it's fine. I like a peaceful life right here. I don't like neighbors screaming and barking dogs and loud music. Hey, I just want things to be okay. That's fine. And so, that's how I am. I'm just really basically not noticed here because, again, I'm fine with that. But other people have their ideas. So, yeah, the world is what it is. But you look at this peace idea, people do marches and demonstrations for peace when really they're infringing and they're blocking traffic. Is that peace? Is that a peaceful movement? I would say there's other ways to do it, you see. So look at what we're doing. We're sharing. We're not doing marches and movements and protests and whatever, just to get our ideas across, just to let people know we're wonderful worldwide educators. We're picking mediums that everybody shares. And everybody has the right to say whatever they do, which they do lots of times. And when people come up and say something nice to me or whatever, boy, I'm really kind of surprised. Because of how things are in this world and what people have to go through. I get it. So, yeah, Charles, that's an interesting one. And I'm sure that the Africans over there have strived to have some kind of peace and order to things, which I get, like the indigenous people who are wonderful. But at the same time, they've been bulldozed over, haven't they, by the governments who say, we're here to help you. Yes, and so, we have GMO food and vaccines to make sure that you're okay. That's their idea of peace and love, isn't it?